Guys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today I am back at Moto and I have got an absolute beauty for you. This is one of the new QJ motors that I've been really looking forward to, so let's just have a look. Now, you wait for one, you get two. So this is the all new QJ SRV 125 Cruiser, and what an absolute beauty. I'm going to take this one out today, but I've managed to get both put outside so you can see the two available colours. So there is the black, there is this absolutely gorgeous orange. I think that would probably be my choice actually. It's nice in black, but I just love the colour. So what I will do, I'll go around the bike the usual way. I'll throw some specs at you. We'll start with price, that being £3,199 plus the on the road. So I would say I'm quite impressed with that. And the reason I say it is looking at these bikes, quality, finish, everything, very similar to the likes of the RKV and the V-Cruise that Keyway do. And yet these are much cheaper. So we're off to a good start. Let's do a close-up and a walk round. I just don't know which one to use for the walk round. In fact, I'm going to ride the black one, so I think we'll have a walk round of the orange one. So let's start with the close-up. I do like it. It's a bit of me. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, you will know that I'm massively into cruisers. Just really like that you can ride a bike nice and slowly, no rush, just taking in the sights on something that looks absolutely amazing, just like this one. Now that's different as well. I think I like it. Again, I keep saying I like it, but I think I do. There's not loads of chrome bits on it. The exhaust is finished in a nice matte black colour, so there's not lots and lots of polishing to do. It does have dual shocks at the rear. Apparently that makes for a comfortable ride according to the write-up, but I'll be the judge of that. Brakes wise, there is a single disc at the rear with a single piston caliper. It's got a 240mm rear disc as well, for anyone interested in those kind of facts and figures. And at the front, there's a 280mm disc. Got a 2-piston caliper. Now, it is sporting upside down forks at the front. To save anyone asking, this has got 6 gears, not 5. There's a lot of 125s that just have 5. Not this one. Currently on the side stand, there is no center stand. However, the good thing with this is you don't need the center stand for chain maintenance because this is a belt drive. That's very V-Cruise like. 16-inch alloy at the front and a 15-inch at the rear. Now, one of the reasons I absolutely love cruisers, one of the many reasons, low seat height. This has got a 700mm seat height, so it's a really good bike for a shorter rider. I'm 5'8" with a 29-inch inseam, so I'm only short. It's not an issue with these types of bikes. Again, it's one of the reasons I absolutely love cruisers. Nice and comfortable as well, feels really plush, the seat. As you can see, I'm flat foot both sides, bending the knee, and we've also got the forward controls. What's my favourite riding position? I just like when you're cruising down the road, you've got your feet forward. It's just a lovely place to be. I can't explain it. For people who've never ridden cruisers, you have to go and try one. And I'll guarantee within the first 5 minutes, your head will be all over the place because you'll not get your head round it at first. because it's weird when you're used to having your legs there all the time and then you go to forward. It does take a little bit of time to get used to the balance of it, but just stick with it, because guaranteed it will become your favorite riding position, because it did with me. Very weird at first, amazing once you've got used to it. But as I've said, seat lovely and comfortable. I like that I'm not bent over the tank. Looking at the bars, they're nice and wide, they're quite high up, I would say, so I'm not having to stretch for them. My back is in a nice comfortable position. Yeah, I'm looking forward to riding this one. It actually feels like a bit of me. It looks a bit of me, but it feels like something I'm going to enjoy. Just hope I do. Now let's talk power. The power on this 125 motor is pretty decent. It delivers 10.3 kilowatts, or if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure that's around 14 horsepower. So 14 horsepower out of a cruiser is just unheard of. A lot of the other manufacturers, they make a cruiser and they just think it's a good excuse to put 11 horsepower in it. Well, not QJ. They've put something in there that could be a little bit feisty. So I'm looking forward to the test ride. Make sure you stay with me for that. As you can see, the black one, it's exactly the same spec, just a different paint job. But it's the black one that I'm taking out, so I'm going to show you the screen on the black one so you can see what it's all about. It is a key. That for me is not a bad thing. I actually prefer a key, and the key goes in the front. None of these side mounted ignition barrels. Yeah, I know it's very classic like, but I like to see where my keys are when I'm riding. Okay, not a bad screen that, I like it. A lot of information on there, and if I put my hand next to it for size, the screen itself isn't particularly big, but even with my bad eyes, sat up here in my riding position, I can see the speedo, albeit it is quite small. You can see it perfectly clear. You've got a clock, there's a petrol gauge, there's your total miles, there's the rev counter, there's a gear indicator. There is everything you need, and it is nice and visible. You can see it is quite bright. You can see a bit of reflection on the screen, but it does not stop you from seeing all of the important stuff. So yeah, that's pretty good. The fuel tank on this looks fairly big. It's actually 13.5 litres, but 125s, I won't say they run off fresh air, but they're very fuel efficient. So 13.5 litres in this should get you a fair amount of miles. That is the walk round done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this bike out for a ride, and I'm going to just test it locally. It is an initial impressions ride. The bike has got 0 miles on the clock, so yeah, there won't be any speed tests today, but I will get an idea on performance without damaging the bike and taking it too high up the revs. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, so make sure you stay with me. And if you've got any questions about the bike, if you think there's any specifications I've missed off that you want to know, put the question in the comments, and if I don't know the answer, I'll get to the guys at QJMotor and I'll ask the questions for you. So yeah, pop it in the comments. But for now, time to ride. That actually sounds a little bit beefier than what you would expect from a 125, the much lower pitch noise, and I like that because when it comes to cruisers, they don't have to have a look like a high pitch whine. They need to have a bit of a rumble about them. Okay, that 125 noise does come through, but on idle it does rumble quite nicely. We'll see what it's like when I'm taking it through the gears. So easy to maneuver when you've got a bike that's such a low seat height like this. Just being able to walk it so easily, yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm jealous of you tall people. One of them. Oh, this is lovely and smooth. Oh, nice gear change as well. We're off to a very good start. So I've put my visor down because it's a bit windy today. You can see there with the tree moving, and I don't want to distort any of my talking nonsense to you. It does sound really nice when you're taking it through the gears. It's not quite as whiny as a lot of 125s can be, but it's not quite the monster cruiser you would expect. It does feel nice and smooth as well. No vibrations through the seat, the pegs, the hands, or the mirrors. It's actually a really civilized bike to ride. There isn't any drama, and I do like the drama with a lot of bikes. I like the scream of the engine or the scream of the exhaust. But if you're looking for a bike that is just lovely and smooth to ride, then yeah, this is decent. Actually, really like the seating position of it as well. Now I've got both feet up. It is just a comfortable bike. Now you've got your feet forward as I showed you in the walk round, but they're not stretched forward, so you don't have to have really long legs to be comfortable on it. And I'm just in my happy place, I've got to say. And it certainly gets to your normal road speeds with no issues whatsoever, as you would hope and expect from a brand new bike like this. But it seems just a lovely thing to ride. I hoped that it was going to be this good because I love my cruisers, but the gear shifting is really nice and smooth. The power delivery is lovely. Yeah, and the screen, which I thought, you know, it's quite small, or the speedo is quite small, but I can see it perfectly well sat here. Yeah, I can still beat everything away from the traffic lights. There isn't any wind protection to speak of, but you know, it's the type of bike that it is. It's quite windy today, but it's quite warm, so I'm actually not bothered. It's nice to have a little bit of a breeze on me. The mirrors are actually, yeah, they're like egg-shaped is probably the best way to describe the shape of them, but you can see everything that you need behind them. They're quite practical. Now I know a lot of cruisers of this type, they tend to go for some sort of bar end mirror, but QJ haven't gone down that route. Let's try a bit of filtering, shall we? I've said the bars, they're not particularly small, they're quite wide, but for a little bit of filtering there, absolutely no issues. And for anybody watching outside the UK, what I just did was perfectly legal. We can filter in the UK. It's one of the added bonuses of being on two wheels, is that you don't have to wait in traffic. 125s are perfect for it because they are smaller bikes, so in traffic like you get in most town centres, they're amazing for it. And this bike, no issues with it at all. So even though it is quite a big chunky 125, it's still small enough to sneak through a bit of traffic. Really gutted, I'm only doing a little impressions ride today. I would love to take this bike out for a longer journey because I'm just loving the whole position that I'm in here. I'm loving the comfort. I'm loving just riding this bike. Going around these bends, yes, I'm on new rubber and I'm not going ridiculously quick, but it just wafts around, and that for me is the sign of a good cruiser. It's not making me want to go any faster. I'm just really happy bimbling about on it, and that is just a good sign. It's a good sign of a good bike for me, of this type. Tight, slow turn there, not a problem. I did it in third gear because I like to do things like that, because I want to see how forgiving a bike is. People have pointed out before, oh, he's doing 20 mile an hour in third gear, oh, he's a madman. But I just want to explain that when I take these bikes out, I try and make not the odd mistake, but I put in a few purposely. Well, I do the odd stupid gear, but I do it because the way I see it is, if you're an inexperienced rider, which a lot of people are that get these 125s, they could have just done a CBT and nothing else. Now, I know there's a lot of experienced riders that will buy 125s, and I'm excluding them from this because, you know, you're an experienced rider with how many years. But if you're new to riding, you will occasionally try and start the bike in the wrong gear. You will occasionally be in the wrong gear and you'll twist and nothing will happen, and you will occasionally stall the bike. It's just what happens. It's part of learning. And that's why I like to throw in the odd little stupid gear. Like now I'm going to put it in second gear. You know, imagine you've come to a stop in second gear. In fact, I might even try, no, I'll keep it in second gear. I'll see how easy it is to start in second gear, because it happens. People go in the wrong gear, and does it stall or does it ride? And I'll try and ride it like normal. I'm not going to try and hold the clutch or do anything like, because I know it's in second gear. I'm going to try and start it as though I don't know it's in second gear, and I'm just starting it but like a new rider would start. And absolutely no difference, to be fair. That started like it was in first gear. There was no danger of it stalling. I didn't have to put extra revs. I didn't have to feather the clutch a little bit. I didn't have to do anything special. It just did it, and I love that. I like to see that when you have a 125 motorcycle like this, that you can make the odd mistake and it will be forgiving. And that's exactly what this has done. And I've got to say, I'm actually blown away by this bike, because I have been a long admirer of Keyway. Keyway tend to be, in the UK, the biggest sellers of 125 cruisers. And they are for a reason, because you've got the really cheap Superlight that comes in around the £2,000 mark, which is a lovely bike. It's massive for a 125 and full of chrome, all that stuff. It's a lovely bike. Then you go all the way up to the premium V Cruise, which is, I think it's just under £5,000 now. It's a lot of money, that bike, but that is like the premium bike for me. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous thing, and to date has been my best, well, my favourite 125. No, it's my favourite 125, the V Cruise. However, this is very, very close to that bike, like very close to it. Comfort wise, very, very, very similar. Performance wise, I mean, I couldn't try this properly today, but evidence or the facts and figures that would suggest this could actually be faster than the V Cruise. I mean, I've not been able to test it today, which is unfortunate, but the figures, the horsepower figures, could suggest that this is faster. So it'd be interesting to get one of these that I could do a performance test on, one that's been ran in a little bit. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with the overall finish of it. Yes, there's a couple of cheap looking things like the switch gear here. There is a couple of cheap things, yeah, but it's a cheap bike. I got too giddy during the walk round, but it is just pretty much an industry standard as far as the buttons go, but they do look just cheap and plastic. Horn indicators, high-low beam. You've got an enter and select, that's just for working your trip computer and stuff on the screen, and then there's a flash. Right hand side, engine start, hazards, and your cut off. But that for me is probably the only thing on here that I look at and think, oh yeah, they look a little bit on the cheap side. They do, they look a bit on the cheap side. However, it's a cheap bike, and as I've already pointed out, this is the closest thing I've seen to Keyway's V-Cruise as far as cruisers go, and yet it's significantly cheaper. Now, I know people will say Keyway's been around a lot longer and QJ is relatively new and it's a bit untested in comparison to the V-Cruise, which has been around longer. I get all of that. What I will say to people is QJMotor are very new to the UK. They have, in my opinion, priced their bikes very aggressively, and by that I mean these bikes appear to be worth more money than they actually are. But what QJ are doing, and I think they're playing it quite smart, they've realised that they're new to market. There's got to be some sort of element of trust. And with a new bike, sometimes people aren't really up for just jumping into a new bike that no one's really heard of. And QJ know that, so what they've done is gone, what we'll do is we'll get this bike that's worth more, we'll sell it for less to try and tempt people to buy it. And that's what I think they've done with this. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was £4,000, but it's not. It's £3,199, so it's cheaper than what it should be, in my opinion. But that's a good thing for us, the buyers, should we want to buy one. Yeah, so overall, an absolute lovely bike. And would I recommend it? 100%. Off my little ride round, yeah, absolutely loved it. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description. If you just want to come and have a look at one of these bikes because you're curious, Into Moto have got both colours in, so go down to Into Moto and have a look, have a sit on it, because this is again one of the most comfortable 125s I think I've ever sat on. I'm going to put that out there. I think it is really comfortable seat, really comfortable seat position, and it's perfect for the shorter rider. So yeah, if you're interested, pop into Moto, or if you want more facts and figures, I'll put a link in the description. But for now, that's going to do me. I'm just sad I've not been able to put loads and loads of miles on it, but this bike is going to be for sale at Into Moto, so I am being respectful for the new owner. Yeah, and Into Moto have told me not to put too many miles on it. Yeah, well that is true. It is for sale. You wouldn't want to buy a brand new bike that has a couple of 100 miles because idiot like me's gone and just had loads of fun on it, would you? So yeah, it's for sale. Into Moto. Catch you on the next one. Laters. Oh yeah, he's a killer. That's right.